Good morning. Yeah, Christmas coming up, and soon after, just around the corner, it is tax time. Joining me is Joe Mastriano, the killer CPA specializing in IRS problems. Hey, Joe.
Hi.
Okay, so here's the thing I want to know. We are all, of course, very honest with the IRS every year. But if for some reason we would want to withhold some, information from them, what do we need to know about their new capabilities as far as tracking down what we are doing?
Well, yes. Well, actually, for years, this just came out about the IRS using Google Maps, but the IRS has been using private investigators. They peer through people's windows. They knock on your neighbor's doors. So I've known this for years. And now with the Internet, they use Google search to see what businesses you have. They'll go on Facebook, anything, just to locate people who are hiding out or people that have sources of income that they're not reporting.
Tell me, okay, let's start with this Google Earth. How are they using that?
Well, you can look at a map, so you can spot assets, you can spot the layout of land. People might say their houses or property is hardly worth anything. They usually go to title. They do great title searches. They have private companies to do that. But it helps because people will lie about stuff, and they'll see they have a boat parked out there or a fancy vehicle. The street maps are amazing. You can see inside people's windows on some of those.
Wow. Talking to Joe Mastriano, he's a CPA who specializes in IRS problems. So is the IRS going to be spying on me, just if I'm under audit, or might they be, checking me out without me having any idea I'm not even being audited, or at least not that I know of?
Well, both. The IRS has a matching program, and that's part of my fourth-part way of not being audited. One of them is to make sure you wait till the end of August when the IRS has on file W-2s, 1099s, things like that. So already, if they find cash transactions, already they're making inquiries into financial institutions, your bank, without your knowledge, things like that. Now, if you're being audited, an auditor might stop by your house and look in your window without your knowledge. I've had a couple of clients over the years that took shotguns out there, and they were ready to shoot someone, and they took their badge out and said they're from the IRS and stopped them just in time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And now they search. I had a client that the revenue officer was complaining to me they couldn't find their husband's assets. Her husband's name was Michael Jordan, and every time they searched, the basketball player came up.
Yeah.
And so now they'll even complain to me that it's frustrating for them because they've gotten to where they rely on these tools.
Unbelievable. Talking to Joe Mastriano, he's the killer CPA specializing in IRS problems. I've been reading about the IRS actually now starting to search for people to audit, not even in their financial information, but using an algorithm on the internet and collecting cookies that apparently, according, people who do bad tax things have very specific ways of, patterns of behavior, and that they may now begin to select you for audits just based on, stuff you do online. What do you know about that?
Well, yeah, but it starts off, they have to have a reason, first of all. Sometimes people will drop a dime and just call them up. They pay people up to 10% of what they collect. So you have a lot of people, turning their employers in.
Wait, hold on. You can get, up to 10% of what they collect if you turn somebody in?
Yes.
I did not know that. Wait, what is that program? What's the 1-800 for that?
Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. I guess you can Google it. I'm sorry, I don't have details on that. But yeah. So you have people turning people in. In fact, a lot of times people will call up and they're not even interested. They have so much information to track down. They don't even bother. So yeah, they're going to go after people. See that. What the problem is that people are still in the olden days thinking that their tax situation is about saving the most money. And what happens is the IRS is auditing people now they're disallowing deductions. We get calls from people, well, I went with my tax preparer to the IRS, and I brought my receipts, my canceled checks, invoices, and they're denying the deductions. So when people read these things about, oh, well, you can deduct this and you can deduct that, what's missing is that they don't tell you exactly what the auditors will accept for proof of those deductions. And that's what we do. I'd like to tell the listeners how not to be audited. My clients who follow our procedures do not get audited, and they don't live in fear of the IRS collection action. After 30 years and thousands of cases, it takes it. They don't print anywhere how they operate. But if you file an extension and you file a week before the end of the extension, like the beginning of October, and you wait past August when they have the W-2s, 1099s, your wage and income transcript on file, and that matching program is what gets a lot of people. They're very lazy about listing all 1099s. Their W-2s may be wrong.
So simple stuff that you should get right.
Exactly.
Right. Now, that makes sense. Joe Mastriano, as the killer CPA, we don't have a lot of time left. What's the one piece of advice you'd give people going into this tax season?
Well, there's a lot of things that have changed. Laws are ending. Expenses need to be done now. If you rely on the sales tax deduction, make your big purchases. They're also, if you have a business, you're self-employed, they're severely reducing the advanced depreciation, down from like $500,000 to $25,000. So you really want to make whatever purchases you can before the end of the year. But I have a free download for people, and if you just Google Killer IRS, you'll get to my website and get the free download. And I really want to recommend that people, quit trying to go to tax preparers based on the biggest refund that they can get. It's important to hire a licensed professional, law firm or CPA firm like mine, a firm that's licensed professionally by the state. That's your best bet.
Just to stay safe from an audit and having problems.
To be safe from the audit is to do the three things I mentioned.
Yeah.
And then the fourth thing is document the return with explanations. People, they'll show they only made $20,000 but for the year, but they spent $50,000 on a mortgage and they supported their family, and the IRS isn't going to accept returns like that. You have to state that, you borrowed money from family to live. You really have to explain in detail what's going on in the return. Auto expense might be high, but taxpayer understands the code and the regs and can prove that this is a legitimate business deduction and has all the receipts and documentation. So when you file it the first week of October, 90-something% of returns have already been selected for audit. And then if they select your return...
Yeah, you're in big trouble, Joe Mastriano. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on 1250 WTMA. He is the killer CPA. You can Google him that way for more information.